Hey friends, and welcome back to your Andale Pues podcast. I'm your host, Rose.
And I'm your co-host, Jezebel.
And this is episode number 9.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
So excited.
So today's episode is going to be about...
We're going to be talking all things domestic abuse today.
I hope you guys are ready for this crazy ride.
I just feel like I'm going to learn so much, about you and about it. I have never had an actual experience with domestic abuse, thankfully. I consider myself very lucky and blessed that I haven't. But also, at the same time, I've seen different types of abuse in others. And so I'm just really excited to hear your story. And I'm actually really glad that you decided to share it too. So,
all day I've had anxiety over it, but I just prayed about it. And I'm like, you know what? This is just a type of episode to help people and let them know that it is okay to get out. It is not your fault.
And you're not alone too.
And you're not alone. There is help out there. And don't be ashamed of coming to your friends or your family to speak about it, because I was, and I regret it so much.
That's crazy. I can't imagine. So, because I've never had an actual a personal experience with domestic abuse, I went and looked up some of the different types of abuse, what people see, kind of what the trends are. And so the things that I found of things that are characteristic as abuse are isolation, physical, sexual, emotional, financial, and even stalking. Mm-hmm. So those are the 6 characteristics of abuse. So as I was naming those, did the little alarm bells start going off for you?
Yeah, they're all red flags.
It's wild. So tell me then a little bit about what you experienced with isolation.
I just didn't want to be around anybody because I felt like everybody was going to judge me. Everybody was going to know. And no matter how much I wanted to get out, it was so hard for me because financially, I couldn't just up and leave. Mm-hmm. He stalked me all day long to see where I was at. He would FaceTime me. I could not go to the grocery store because he'd FaceTime me. Why are you taking so long? Who the fuck are you with? Who did you go see? Who did you meet up with?
Ew, dude, I can't.
It was bad.
To think of somebody checking up on me like that every minute, I
was terrified, but I could not get rid of him. I tried to break up with him so many times, and he was just like, if you're not going to be mine, you're not going to be for nobody.
That's so scary. So let's take it back a sec and tell me how you met him.
I had been single for a while, and I had a friend, and she was cousins with him. Mm-hmm. She was like, hey, I have a cousin. He's really good looking, and I want you to meet him or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever.
You got me at good looking.
I was like, okay. She lived at the same complex as I did. So we used to have the Wind Down Wednesdays, and they're at the apartment complex. Every Wednesday, I think, they would have a little get together at the the
community thing.
Yeah. And we'd go and stuff. But when I met him, she invited me over to her house. I don't remember. It was they were partying. They loved to drink or whatever. So I went over. I met him. Super handsome, super charming. He swept me off my feet right away. And that's a red flag because they usually do. Another red flag. He would always talk about God, how he was so into church, and he was super friendly. He got along with everybody, and he painted this whole Prince Charming type of guy. And I was just like, okay, finally I found somebody,
I felt that one.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool,
Ay, vas también cayéndote hocico tras él.
And so,
So were things good at the very beginning? Was it immediately once you were his girlfriend or his, it started, or how did all of that kind of
a month into dating, he put his hands on me.
A month?
Mhm.
What was it like the very first time for you? Like,
Shocking.
what
It was,
just happened?
and the crazy part is I don't even know why he did it.
Like, you don't remember the reason?
No, there was no reason. Like, he just did it. I remember so vaguely, like it was yesterday. I had this huge mirror. It's like arms wide, super tall, body mirror in my bedroom, and I would sit in front of it and I would get ready, put my makeup on. I'd sit Indian style, and I remember I had a towel on and I had just taken a shower. I was getting ready for work, and he said something, and then I remember replying to him, but I was like joking around, like playful with him, and he fucking just walked up to me and slapped, like stood behind me and just slapped the shit out of me. I remember I damn near like, well, I fell over and I was like, what the fuck?
Oh my God. What do you even do?
I remember my
like,
face
you're just sitting there,
was
just
tingling, and
throbbing,
then
I assume.
I just grabbed my face and I'm like, what the fuck? And I just stared at him, and he was just like, I'm sorry, like da da da.
Stop it. No, he didn't. Al menos que se forre los huevos y diga, ¿me dio la gana?
No. He repeatedly said he was sorry, and then he had something to go do and he left, and I was just like,
what do you
just
even do
in
from
shock.
there?
Yeah, so I get ready and I go to work, and I remember that whole day at work I was like thinking to myself, like, I don't want to be with him. Like, he just fucking put his hands on me, you know? And then he came home and he was just like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know what came over me. And I was like, and the way he apologized and fucking got teary-eyed and shit. And I was just like, and to me,
Te la creíste.
No, but I still didn't know how to be like, let's not be together. You know what I mean? So I remember he went back to his apartment and I just stayed there, and I'm just like, what the fuck still? So, time passed by, and then like, about a month later, I remember bits and pieces. He said he was going to go work or something. I don't even remember. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to my friend's apartment. They were drinking and stuff, and God forbid I fucking go with my friends. And
there's the isolation portion of it. He didn't want you around anybody or anything.
I got ready, and he's like, well, what are you gonna do? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go run some errands or something. So I remember I got in my car and he fucking was stalking me. And I pulled up to it was my friend, but at the time she was dating my cousin. So I get there and then he's like, where the fuck are you? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I was like, I better not lie, because what if he is
That'll
stalking
make it
me?
worse, yeah.
So I was like, oh, I stopped at my cousin's girlfriend's house, and he was like, yeah, I know. Get in your car and go.
No.
So I'm like, what the fuck? So at this point, I'm like, fucking, I gotta go, like, da da da. So I get in my car and I take off, and he's like hauling ass beside me, and he's like trying to, like, we get on, I lived in Midland, we get on Loop 250, and I remember I was gonna go to Odessa to, I don't know, come to Odessa to do something. And I remember right there in that little back way, behind Synergy in Midland, I turned there because he was like veering me off the road and stuff. And I was like, stop, like, what are you doing? And my car was a fish tank, literally. You could see through it. And I was like, what the fuck? So he's like, he calls me, he's like, pull the fuck over. And I'm like, he was like, oh, I'm gonna fucking hit your car. And he had this fucking Ford F-250, like diesel. And I'm like, fuck, so I pull over and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
he would
are
have
you
torn your
kidding me?
car apart
Oh, yeah.
had he hit it, yeah.
He walks up to my door and opens it, and I'm like, what? And I'm still like buckled in, and he grabs my keys, dude. Grabs my car keys, and I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, what are you doing? I was like, that was my cousin's girlfriend's house. Why the fuck didn't you tell me? La la la. And I feel like he thrived off of my fear.
Yeah. It's like feeding off of it.
So he gets my keys, dude, and pretends to like throw him in the monte, like pretends like he's gonna throw him in the fucking, and I'm like, please stop, those are my only keys, like I gotta go get my kids later, like just stop, please. I'm over here imploring to him, and he fucking laughs at me, and I don't remember anything else about that story, but there's many stories, and it was like, I remember he was gone a lot.
You know what? Your brain probably like blocked it out, or blocked a lot of that out. So we've touched on like the physical, like he didn't want you going with anybody or anything. Like, did you experience any of like the financial abuse, like with him?
Yeah, because then he was staying at my house all the time, eating up my fucking food, my kids' food, like, motherfucker, no.
And it's that control too, like it's just, they live off of control.
Yeah, and so, it got to the point where, like, no, I couldn't have guy friends on even Facebook, because he would literally make me delete them or block them.
I'm guilty of that, but I've never, maybe I'm the abuser. A lot of these things you've been saying is like, that's crazy.
He would make me block them, or he'll be like, why the fuck is he hearting your picture? Let me look at your messenger, just to see if me and that person had a conversation. And when he would see that it was just, nothing, he would make me block him for them putting a heart on my picture.
Yeah. That's insane. Dude. And so how long did this entire relationship last?
4 months.
In 4 months, he made your life that much of a living hell?
Oh, and that's not all.
Yeah, so we'll get more into it, but like, I remember you told me this back at the company that we were working with, because I remember you had said he started to come around, or you saw him somewhere, right?
At the UPS store.
At this, yes, because I remember she came, y'all, it was crazy nuts, okay? She came back shaking.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember, I was like, I don't remember seeing it right away, but you came into my office and you were off. Like, I couldn't tell what was off, but you were kind of like shaking. I was like, are you okay? Like,
yeah,
yo también estaba despistada. Like, are you okay? And then that's whenever she shared a little bit, and to be honest with you, I literally thought like, oh my God, that's scary as hell. That was when I was, younger. But now thinking about that, I would have been like,
yeah,
I just don't have any words. Like, that's crazy to me.
It's very scary, because
the physical reaction you had to seeing him.
I froze.
Crazy.
I froze. I was at the UPS store sending over some job books to Targa. I remember we're working with Targa, sending these big old stacks of job books, and I just remember sitting them down, and I heard the door open, and then somebody say, oh, here's my application. The minute I heard that voice, instant chills through my body. And I remember I looked up, and I was like I froze in place. And I remember I was holding the job books like this, and the girl was like, are you okay? The girl at the register. And I was like, please, if that guy comes near me, just call 911. Just call 911. And she was like, oh my God, like what? And then I was like, just please call 911 if he comes near me. And she's like, okay, like, don't look up, just look at me. And I was just like staring at her, and I was just like,
oh my God, dude.
And when he's walking off, he's dropping off this resume at fucking UPS on 42nd, that little UPS store by McAllister's. And he's walking out, and he looks at me. And he doesn't approach me, but when he gets to the door to open it, he smiles and says, "Ha ha ha, I'll see you around, little one," because that's what he nicknamed me. When he said that, my knees got so weak, and not for the other
looks.
reasons. No, my knees
That's
got so
wild.
weak because the way he said it was like
Sinister.
yeah.
It's what it sounds
Mhm.
like como que era el pinche diablo ahí
like
mismo, like
he loved to petrify me.
Oh no, dude.
And I instantly started crying as soon as he left, and I didn't want to even leave because I was like, what if he's waiting for me outside? Like, I don't know. The girls were like everybody noticed. And I remember there was a guy in there, and he was like, "Are you okay?" Like, da da da. And I was like, "Yes." Like, I couldn't even turn back to look to the outside or anything. I was just like, "Do y'all know what vehicle he got in? Is there any way like y'all can like look at cameras? Like, I need to see what he's driving so I can watch my back." And they were like, "It's okay. We'll walk you out. Like, and if we see him or see anything, like they even took my tags to my vehicle down in case they seen him like come behind me or something. They could call the police." And I was like, "I work at OGT, and my name is Rosa." Like, I gave them all my information just in case, like, they saw something.
But also, like, you can't fake that.
No.
You can't fake the fear that was instilled in you in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about when it started to get worse. So obviously, like, he smacked you, which is terrible in itself. And then, you know, the whole thing where he was stalking you and he like pulled you over. But like, when did it start getting like, okay, this is now escalating into something out of my control?
I had initially broke up with him like 3 months into it. I was just like, this isn't working out. Like, who the fuck who are you talking to? Who are you seeing? Blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, oh my God, like, here we go.
But just to see you now, it's so funny because I can even tell, like, in your body language and like your demeanor, like you are so guarded.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, like, of the situation. It's just it's so crazy to me. My little brain is seeing it is just
I am, because I just don't want to feel that fear anymore, you know? I had to go get gun lessons. I bought me a gun. I bought me extra clips. I learned how to use my gun, take it apart, and I'm a damn good shot.
That's crazy.
And I said, if this motherfucker ever comes near me or my kids, it's over for him.
I have always said it will always be me before you in any instance. You know, like, you come crazy at me, I'm going to come crazy back, you know, at you. And that's like not just something where it's just like, oh, well, you're threatening me and my family, you're threatening me physically. I'm talking like in any instance. Yeah. Like, I'm not taking nothing for nobody.
Especially when kids are involved.
Yeah.
You know? So then another, let's say, event. I was getting ready for work. I was already ready for work. And I remember my makeup was bomb as fuck that day. And he comes over, and because he had left something another day there. He had left something, and he had his kids with him. And I didn't go outside to say hi to the kids because I was still getting ready for work, and I had just gotten dressed or whatever. He's like, well, I'm leaving. I'm going to go hang out with my kids, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, have a good day. Like, you know, get the fuck out of here. I got to go to work, you know?
Like, oh, you're still here?
Right. So he leaves. And when I'm leaving for work, I remember I backed out, and then I noticed my tire was flat.
No, he didn't.
To this day, I have no idea if he did it or not. But I called him and I was like, hey, my tire's flat. Is there any way you can come change my tire and just put the little spare? He's like, what the fuck? I told you I was going to spend time with my kids. Why are you trying to ruin it for me?
That was him. That was him nomás haciendo su pinche circo para que le hicieras.
Why the fuck do you want to ruin my day with my kids? Like, how fucking dare you, you selfish bitch? Blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay. Like, don't worry about it. I'll get help. So I remember I went online on Facebook and I was like, hey,
Peor.
Wait.
Oh my God.
Wait. I said, does anybody have a spare? Because I noticed I didn't have a spare. I was like, does anybody have a spare? And at the time I was driving a Pontiac Grand Am or something like that. It was an old little car. I bought it cash. It fucking took me everywhere. No biggie.
We all have one of those cars que andaba para arriba y para abajo por todas partes.
Yeah, I didn't have a fucking car payment and my insurance was hella low. And so I posted it on Facebook. I was like, can anybody come help me change my tire? I need a spare tire. If y'all can loan me one until I get this tire fixed, like any help would be appreciated. So then one of my friend's cousins was like, hey, I got a spare tire. I can come bring it to you. Bitch.
How did that go?
I swear he was like watching every fucking comment. And as soon as Jacob, I remember his name was Jacob, fucking commented, he's like, who the fuck is Jacob? You better tell that motherfucker not even to go over there, because if he shows up, he's gonna leave in a fucking gurney. I'm gonna fuck him up, blah, blah, blah. Dude, so I'm like fucking scared for him because
then you're like, I don't want to get somebody
I don't want to get him in, So I'm like, hey, Jacob, it's okay. I found one. My friend came through for me. Like, thank you so much. I don't need any more. I really appreciate you. Thank you. I was like, but there's no need for you to come. He was like, are you sure? Like, I don't mind at all. I was like, no.
It's so random.
I was like, no, Jacob, please don't come. Like, just don't come. So then my cousin's girlfriend was the one that lived in Midland was like, hey, I'll come and I have a spare. Like, you can borrow mine. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So she gets there before he got there. And she drove a Dodge Charger Challenger, the 2-door one, the muscle car. It was really nice with the Hemi and all.
Dang.
Tell me why he shows up, like, damn near kicks the door open, walks in. Oh, no, wait. Todavía she wasn't there yet. Hold on. Backtrack a tad. He gets there before my cousin's girlfriend gets there. Why the fuck did you tell that motherfucker yes, blah, blah, blah? Are you talking to him? I was like, no, he's just my really good friend's cousin. Like, stop. Dude, he gets my phone, and at the moment I had an LG, those really wide square ones. When I tell you, this is not exaggerating, that motherfucker folded my fucking phone. Not completely, but it was like very much curved. Threw it across the room, grabbed 2 water bottles, doused me in water, then opened this big ass can of oatmeal and poured it on me. Pathetic, yeah.
I'm like speechless.
I was covered.
So what was the purpose of that? Just to like humiliate you?
I guess. I remember I cried because I was like, what the fuck? Like, this cannot be real. Like, this cannot be real.
Out of a movie. It sounds like he was trying to tar and feather you and shit for
so
getting help for something he did. Like, that's what true psychopaths do. Like, they cause these situations so that they can be like the knight in shining armor. Or like in this case, they can just be like, oh, hacerte la vida más imposible.
Thankfully, my phone still worked, and he got back in his truck and fucking left. His kids like heard everything. They didn't get off, but they heard everything. My house was covered in fucking oatmeal. My clothes, my hair. I was complete. Like, my shower. Oh my God. Took forever to clean that shit up.
Well, I guess now it makes more sense though, because when you wash out oatmeal, it falls through the drain and then it swells. No.
Oh, it was everywhere. It swelled everywhere. So then he leaves. I don't know where the fuck he goes. And then my cousin's girlfriend gets there shortly after, and she walks in. She's like, what the fuck? Like, and I had just gotten showered all over again. I remember I had to call into work, and she's like, what the fuck happened? I was like, this fucking crazy motherfucker did this, and that. She's like, what the fuck? So then he comes back, and she's like laying across my bed and damn near kicks the door open, like fucking hauls ass to my bedroom, and he's like, Rose, because he called me Rose too. And walks in and sees her, and he's like a sigh of relief, because he's like, oh, it's a girl, he thought that it was this guy. And I'm like, what? He's like, oh, I came back because the kids want to say hi to you. I swear to you. I swear to God.
Stop.
That's
sociopath type thing. Like the way that you can just flip it.
Mm-hmm.
That's up when he could have done something crazy to you. Mm-hmm. Right there.
Yeah. So he's like, the kids want to say hi to you, and tell me why. I walked outside to say hi to these kids, and you know what? It's not the kids' fault. They were the sweetest kids ever. I come back inside, dude, and he's sweeping.
Ay, qué considerado.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm so sorry, I fucking lost it. Like, I just had a bad day. Like, I'm just stressed out, and I'm just like,
all the time. I don't go do some
and to
crazy
me, I'm
shit
just
to
like,
my family.
I'm like, okay.
I was stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I'm having a bad day. Like, things aren't going how I wanted them, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh great. Like, sorry. Like, I just had a flat tire. My fucking boyfriend came and doused me in water and oatmeal, and now I have
let
to
me feel
reshower.
sorry.
But let me like give you a hug.
Yes.
And I hope your day gets
sorry
better.
you're having a bad day.
Yeah,
dude.
Seriously. But at the moment, like, I couldn't be that way because
like
I
that.
fucking get my ass beat. So then, así se quedó. A few weeks later, couple weeks later, my old best friend's mom calls me. She lives in Midland too. Bless her heart. And she's like, hey, my godson and his sister had made the kids like Valentine's bags or something, and made me one too. So I was like, oh, that's really sweet.
That is really sweet.
So she's like, come over and pick them up, blah blah blah. So I go over there to her house, and we get to talking. The kids were playing and blah blah blah. I left my phone in the car. He was blowing me up. When I finally get in my car, because I did stay there for quite a bit. When I finally get to my car, dude.
How did your heart feel seeing all the missed notifications?
My heart was fucking racing, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, what is he gonna do? Like this. So I texted him, and I'm like, hey, I'm on my way home. Like, what's up? Where the fuck were you at? I'm like, I was getting like Valentine's bags, for me and the kids that my godson made us. And he's like, get your fucking ass home, blah, blah. You're gonna fucking get it when you get home. So I'm like, fuck, and I'm like, so I get home and I get the kids down and I get my bags and stuff, and he walks out because he had a key to the house at the moment. He walks out and he's like, go inside. And I'm like, look, these are the bags. Like, I'm over here, like,
that's
look,
wild,
like,
because I feel like terrified for you in that moment. Like, whenever he says get inside, like,
But wait, he tells the kids, stay out here and play for a little bit. And the kids are like, okay. And he makes me go inside, and then I'm like, look, this is a bag that my godson gave me. Tell me why he grabbed the bag and flung it across the yard.
Of course.
And grabs me from my arm and like shoves me inside the house, tells the kids to stay outside and play. So I go inside and he slaps me a couple times and makes me have sex with him.
That's all about control there. That is all about control.
And then he gets ready and leaves.
That is terrifying.
Yeah. I remember he was into that Kayani shit when it was a big deal. I remember he had like a Kayani meeting or something, and he was like, but I had already like suspected of him cheating. And I was like, hey, you know, like, today shouldn't have happened. Like, you told me you weren't gonna, like, be this way no more. Like, you promised. Like, I need you to, like, leave me the fuck alone.
So
like,
tell me one thing. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like, what was your mentality? What was your attitude through all this? Because I know you as a like, te me vas a la verga si me vas a estar tratando así. Like, aquí no te voy a estar aguantando
he
eso.
made me
So
feel
like,
this little.
is that why? Like, you feel like you were just like going
My thing was
with everything?
because
I feel like somebody talks to you sideways, now you're gonna be like, got me fucked up. So to hear that you were in such a place where that wasn't you, you know, and you just kind of let things happen, and like this person is doing this shit to you. Like, I'm just curious on your mindset at that time.
And the reason why I feel like it really took over me was because he was fucking crazy. I mean, he made me, like, at the time I was skinny, but I mean, I had fucking 4 kids at the time. My second passed away, and then I had my other 3 kids. I mean, my body's not the same, you know. And he was a stacker. He would inject steroids, and sometimes he would make me inject him. And then
that's where the rage came from then.
And then
well, some of he
would force me to take this medicine underneath the tongue for and you know, I'm very asquerosa with fucking medicines, and I was like, no, like, I'm gonna throw up, like, no. And he would literally like grab me. He was like, fucking take it, quit being such a fucking pussy, like. And I would take this fucking medicine so I can get skinny and be up to par to him, because he was this bodybuilder, and you know. And
so tell me this, because we just touched on your mindset. At the time when you're here, were you like ready to be like, I am not doing this anymore? Or were you kind of like that infatuated with, oh, look at him, he's so hot, he's so handsome, like he takes care, like, what was that like?
No,
like,
I wanted out. My thing was, Jezebel, that it was so hard for me to get out, because I'm the type that I don't like to burden people.
Right.
I don't like to be like, hey, can I get some help? Or hey, I need you. That's just the kind of person that I am.
It's a toxic trait too.
And financially, I couldn't just get up and go because I had a whole house furnished, you know, my kids and their schools and stuff. And he always knew how to find me. He would always find me. You know what he would tell me? My dad's a sheriff. You can hide, but you can run, but you can't hide. I'll find you, bitch.
Even the way, like, you saying that, like, makes my skin crawl, because it just sounds so sinister and just evil. So at this point, y'all have been together a couple months, and
3 months.
You are knowing that this isn't something that you want to continue with. You're knowing that you're wanting to get out. When did you decide, or was there a situation that was worse after that, him beating you?
Twice worse.
Okay.
Two different times.
Tell me about this.
So I broke up with him, and I told him, I don't want you over here. Like, we're done. Because he was going out a lot and drinking, and then trying to come to my house all drunk and stuff. And I was like, over it. So, I remember he came over, and what was because I remember he beat me up to where he gave me a black eye. And then I remember telling him, I'm going to file a restraining order on you. So he beat me up that one time. Then we're still broken up. Like, I told him, I don't want to be with you. I go to this fucking party, my friend's husband's party, and they have a whole like a bar in the back of their house. And it was I think it was his 40th birthday. I don't remember. And we were there and hanging out, partying or whatever. And me and my friend's husband's brother were flirting. We had been flirting or whatever. And at the end of the night, like, I was like, oh, he's so cute. Like, I've never been one to like sleep around. Like, I'm gonna be promiscuous tonight. I was like, fuck it.
God.
So I remember I got drunk and I was like, I can't drive all the way to Midland like this. And plus, I didn't have my kids, so I was like, I'm just gonna stay here. And they're like, yeah, don't drive, whatever,
Your
whatever.
inhibitions were completely lowered.
Yeah. So I remember hooking up with him that night. And then the next morning, like la amanecimos, 6 or 7 in the morning, I drove back to Midland. And I remember I pulled in and I grabbed my purse and my keys and stuff. And I'm going to open the door when all of a sudden I see a truck pull up. He fucking literally, everything happened so fucking quick, dude, that I swear this motherfucker was stalking me and waiting for me to get home.
Oh, for sure. If
I
you
don't
got
know
home and
how.
he got home afterwards.
And it was like 7 in the morning, dude. So I'm like, how the fuck? So he pulls up, doesn't even shut his door. He puts his shit in park, runs after me and slams my fucking head in the door. And he was like, open the fucking door. And I remember my fucking keys fell. Total fucking movie, cuando se les caen las pinches llaves and they're like having a hard time opening the door. I finally get the door open. And he fucking tells me, where the fuck have you been at? You didn't even come home to sleep. And I'm like, I was at my cousin's husband's, because we consider each other cousins. At her husband's party. I didn't want to drive after drinking. Like, I stayed there, but, whatever. He's like, take your fucking clothes off because I bet you fucking fuck somebody tonight.
No.
He made me strip down to nothing so he can smell me down there to see if I have fucked somebody.
Stop. Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that insane?
That is. So, did he know?
No. By the
grace of God.
Grace of God.
Oh my gosh. I cannot imagine what that was like for you.
I was so scared. I was like, oh my God. Is he gonna
imagine
what if
had he
known?
Imagine
he would have probably fucking
known.
killed me right then and there. And I was by myself. Like, thankfully my kids weren't there. But yeah. Then he smelled me and fucking like slapped me around a couple times, picked me up over his shoulders, and I'm bawling, just like I feel so violated and just so disgusted. Like,
seriously, like that's like, I just violated is such a perfect word, because ¿qué negocios tienes allá? Regardless of whatever, like you don't.
I'm like, we're not together, and even if I did, like, we're not together. And that's when he looked at me and grabbed me from my face. He's like, if you ain't for me, you ain't for nobody, bitch. Like, you're not gonna be for nobody.
So, as bad as things were, did you ever call the cops on him? And how did that go down?
Dude, they wouldn't do shit because his dad's a fucking sheriff. They wouldn't do anything. They would lock him up and let him back out. So then he proceeds to take me to the bedroom and do his way with me, even though I didn't want to, even though I was crying. And I just let it, at this point, I just let it be, because
si le peleas va a estar peor. And so I've always wondered, like, how a man can continue doing that to a woman when she's crying or when she's like upset, or like, the R word when they're doing that, because that's essentially what he did to you. He essentially raped you. And I know a lot of it is about power and control for them, but like you see this person that is weaker than you, that is more fragile than you, and you are taking advantage of them in the worst way possible. Like that's just wild. Like I cannot in my brain, because again, I've never been exposed to a level of something like that. So obviously this happens, this all goes down. So what was that like the last time? Is that when you said enough is enough?
I mean, I had been saying enough is enough, but um after he did what he did, he left. And
Where was he going when he left? Because he had been living with you, no? Or like you
he
had.
would just stay the night. He had
Okay.
his own apartment.
Okay.
So then I knew he was going out of town a week later. Like that was where I drew the line, per se. I remember asking my friend, hey, like he's about to go out of town for a week with the Kayani team. Like he's about to go out of town. Like I need help, like moving out. He can't find out. Can you please help me move out? Because she had a pickup truck. And she's like, yeah, I'll help you. And I remember I asked my aunt, I was like, hey, can I stay at my mom's house? Like, or was it that time? It's like all fucking like just all revuelto. But I remember he was gonna go out of town, so I was like, I need to get the fuck out of town because I can't stay here. Like this is not okay.
I'm gonna end up dead is essentially what would have happened.
And so a week later, right before his trip to Puerto Rico, he got drunk. He kept texting me, please, like, sorry, like, I don't want to lose you, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, ignoring him. Finally, he was like, I'm about to come up to your house. You better fucking open the door. If not, I'm going to slash all your tires. I'm going to break all your windows. I'm going to fucking break this fucking door down. And
what a disgusting human.
And my kids were there. They had already been back, so they were in their room asleep. And I remember just Jalen wasn't there. It was just Alan and Juju. And he shows up, and I remember he kept messaging me, open the fucking door, I'm gonna knock it down, or I'm gonna break your windows to your car. And I'm like, he will do it. So to me, in my head, I was like, okay, just give me a second, like, because I was like, maybe I can sweet talk him, like, because I know what he wants. You know,
and it's crazy to me right now what I'm thinking of, because in my mind I'm like, okay, well, maybe don't open the door, but then he's gonna fuck up your car anyway.
So my thing was like, okay, if I open the door, he's not gonna fuck up my car. He's not gonna fucking break this door down. I won't get evicted, because he got me evicted from my previous apartments too. So I opened the door. As soon as I opened the door, he fucking grabs me by my neck, and then I don't know why the fuck he had a pet horny toad at my house that he had in a fucking pot, because he caught it, and he had it in a pot with the lid, and then just like with the lid cracked, and I was terrified of the thing. And I remember he came inside, and then he was fucking he reeked of alcohol, and you can tell he was on something. It was like maybe 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, and he was just like, I want to be with you. And I was like, this is not working out. You know, this is not working out. So, he makes me go to the bedroom. He like rips my clothes off, and the cops were called that day. So they had all my garments torn, where he literally ripped them off of me. He made me have sex with him. When he fell asleep, he pinned me down on the bed, because he's like, I'm gonna fucking make sure you get pregnant, so you don't ever have to. So you can always be in my life. Like you're gonna
Imagine
have my
having to
fucking
deal with
baby.
him the rest of your life.
Yeah, and he fucking fell asleep. Right, he just rolled over and fell asleep. So his phone kept going off, and I'm just there, fucking just covered up, just like thinking in my head, if I move, he's gonna get up. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, how do I get out of this? Like, at this point, I'm desperate, but I can't show him that because he would lose his fucking mind. So his phone kept going off. So I was like, I'm gonna prove to him that he's cheating, because he would deny it all the time, and he would be like, the day you have proof that I'm cheating on you, I'll fucking gladly walk away if you catch me in the act or whatever. So his phone kept going off, so I was like, I'm gonna go through it. And for some reason, like, I managed to open it. I knew his password, so I opened it, and sure enough, there were videos of him having oral sex with somebody, or somebody giving him oral sex, pictures of women sending him nude pictures, just all kinds of things. So I was like, here's my chance to get out. So I remember his phone still kept going off, and I was like, so I grabbed whatever t-shirt that I could and shorts, and I was like, wake up, like, here's the proof, like, you have been cheating on me, like, I told you if I ever found proof, like this is it. Leave, I was like, and you agreed to leave, so leave me the fuck alone, like, go do you, like,
nobody's you want to stopping you, go live your life,
go be with all these women, like, I don't want this. Like, I do not want this. And he was like, oh, he was just like, why were you going through my phone, blah, blah, blah. And I was
that's not the important thing here.
I was like, you're caught. Like, just leave me the fuck alone. Like, you're with all these other women. Like, this is disgusting. I don't want to be with you. And he's like, yeah, oh, well, I bet you're already fucking pregnant, so you're stuck with me, and da da da. And I was like, even this is where I fucked up. And I'm like,
why did you say that? Yeah.
And I said to him, even if I'm pregnant, why the fuck do you even think I would keep this baby? I was like, if I were to be pregnant from you, what makes you think I would keep it?
I bet that turned him into a freaking
When I feel like I didn't even finish saying it by the time his light switched on.
I'm like scared to hear this.
He beat the shit out of me, and then I tried to run away from him. And I remember he grabbed me from my fucking hair, took me to the kitchen, and opened that fucking lid to that pot, grabbed the horny toad and pinned me up against the cabinets in the kitchen, and was squeezing this fucking animal in my face, all while laughing, to try and get it to spit at me, or I don't know what the fuck they do.
They do something. They spit at you, yeah.
And I'm sitting here like hysterically crying, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
because you were scared of that toad.
I was fucking terrified of it. So what he does next, dude, is just I was wearing this this, how can I say, it was like a workout t-shirt but had spandex bra inside. He grabbed it and pulled it down and threw the horny toad in there. I remember when they showed me the pictures at the ER, because they did a whole rape kit on me. I had scratch marks all over my breast from this thing clawing on me. It was the scariest fucking shit ever. I remember I ran towards the fucking door, and I grabbed it and I fucking flung it outside, and he was so mad that I fucking threw his shit out. And
don't be throwing it at people, stupid.
and he fucking grabs me and takes me back to the room and just keeps hitting me, dude, like fist hitting me with full on fucking fists. And at this point, I'm like, I have to get help. Like, he's gonna fucking kill me. He threw a fucking iron at me in my back. I had a giant fucking bruise on my back. Tell me why that iron broke into like confetti pieces. I
From
swear
your
to you.
head.
In that body mirror, he grabbed it and threw it on me while I was on the bed and jumped on it so it could break because he said he was going to cut my face up. So nobody would even look at me. Tell me why this mirror did not fucking break. It did not. And this motherfucker was big. It did not break, Jezebel. And I was like, Lord, please help me. Please help me. That's all I could think about. And by this point, he woke up my kids, you know? So, my kids come running in my room, and I told Alan had a phone at the time. I was like, call 911, call 911. And he's still hitting me. So then, he hears that Alan's on the phone. My poor baby. I will never forgive myself for putting them through this. And, but I just, how can I say?
You were just in a place where you couldn't get out.
But my kids were always protected. Like, he never did anything to my kids because I would have fucking murdered him. I would have literally killed him. He hears Alan on the fucking phone, runs towards him and tries to take his phone away. When he does that, dude, I see red. My kids had this robotic metal snake. It was pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
That was remote controlled. You know, it was controlled with the remote control. So I grab it and I just started whacking him the back of the head with it as much as I could, like whipping him with it. It was heavy and it caused a lot
damage.
of And I remember he left Alan's phone alone and walked back towards me and punched me so hard in the face. I remember I have like a little cut right here. And my face just started pouring blood. When he saw the blood coming down my face, it's like the light switch went off. He immediately grabs me and holds me, and he's like, I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. Please, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm like,
she's sorry. It's like nobody wants him.
And I was like, fucking leave and never come back. Like, I fucking hate you. Like, just leave. So on the way out, cops already coming, you know. The boys had gone back in their room. No, I told them, get out of here. I was like, run to the neighbor's house. Get help. Get out of here. And they did. And whenever he was leaving, after I was all bloody, my kids didn't see me bloody yet because I had told them to leave. When he finally released me and he was leaving because he knew the cops were coming.
Yeah.
He fucking runs out of my house. But before he runs out of my house, he drops my fucking big screen TV off the dresser for what? And sashes my back 2 tires right before he leaves.
What a piece of shit.
Uh-huh.
That's a freaking true piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. I had to go to the hospital because of all my injuries. They did a rape kit on me. Found evidence of being raped and choked. Damn near. They told me he choked me so hard that the veins in the top of my eyes, like if you pick up your eyelid, the veins up there are a little bit busted. And they said he hit me so hard that ears aren't supposed to bruise. But my ears were so bruised where he was hitting me so hard. Because it's cartilage, it doesn't bruise. My ears were bruised.
Oh my God, dude.
They took pictures of every inch of my body. I felt so Like at the moment, I feel like I was so numb. Like I just let him do whatever. I got so many shots.
I was
I
gonna
got a
say
lot
too
of
that just kind of
medication.
also seems like you were violated a second time
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because the hospital's getting like all their evidence and their
Mm-hmm.
pictures and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I remember getting shots, I got a whole bunch of shots, a whole bunch of medication, just in case he had something, it could like just destroy whatever. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
My kids and I went to therapy. They gave
Do
us
they
free
remember now?
therapy. Hmm?
Do they remember now?
Yeah, but they weren't. How can I say? Because they really never saw anything until that day. But I felt like they were so strong, you know? And I remember, well, we went through the whole court and everything, and because my kids didn't say the R word, he didn't get charged. So he's out, you know, living his best life. I think they told me he even has another child.
I was gonna ask, do you think that the previous baby mamas went through this? Like, what do you think made him be like this with you? Like, is this like what he just does? Was it something about you that just,
I
you
have
know, like,
no fucking clue.
do you think that he's continuing to do it to other people?
I hope not.
Like, even after all these years, like this is just the type of person that he's continued to be?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrifying because if he's with somebody else, like, are they going through the same thing? Was he maybe having some, because you're saying that he was, you know, shooting up steroids. Well, have you ever heard of roid rage?
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a factor in it. But also, like, it just kind of sounds like he had some mental things going on, which is absolutely no excuse. But because it just kind of seems like the way that you described everything, he was doing all these things to you, but then in this moment, like, he would snap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like it was like somebody or something else outside of him was doing all these things, but then he just all of a sudden.
Yeah, because he not only put his hands on me, he put his hands on one of his kids, the younger one, slapped the shit out of him so hard that I cried for him, and I just wished I knew how to get a hold of the baby mama and tell her the handprint was marked on his poor little face. And I could not believe he would slap his own child like a grown-ass man. Yeah. Just enraged, like he just wanted to fight everybody all the time. It was just like you couldn't go anywhere with him without him causing a scene or a fight somewhere. It was embarrassing.
I'm just so proud of you, though, because I was fully expecting you to say, like, oh, this lasted or went on for a year or two.
Oh, no, I couldn't do it.
Like, because when you think about people trying to get out, like, the likelihood of people getting out is so low because of all of the things that we already touched on, right? Like the support of your family. Even if you have it, do you want to burden them? Mm-hmm. Let's say you don't have anywhere to go and you don't have a supportive family, or you don't have family that wants to, or that you feel like you don't want to burden. Your only other option is a shelter. And who wants to go to a shelter, right? Like,
my thing was, I was just so embarrassed and just so ashamed because, like, nobody should ever be proud of being able to. That's why it's taken me so long to really open up about it, because it's not something I'm proud of. Like, I feel ashamed because
even today,
I will always feel ashamed. And not because, you know, I let it happen, but because I felt stuck, you know, because I didn't want to burden anybody. Because I was, and I had to do every little step.
Yeah.
to get out hush hush without telling anybody, because I remember I had gotten some boxes to start packing stuff, and he tore them the fuck up and threw them in the trash.
Oh.
And I told him it was because I was going to donate some stuff to...
And he didn't believe it?
No. He knew. And I remember he got arrested, and he had a emergency protective order against him.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. He couldn't contact me, or he couldn't have somebody contact me for him. Which he did, and every time he would try, I would call the cops. He tried to message me, get him. Because I thought, hopefully if they get him again, yeah, they leave him in there. And no,
And
dude, he just kept getting out.
Trying to get a job at UPS.
Fucking loser. Like, that place, that place is for girls, you know, because they're all pretty young girls that work there.
Well, not
for
only that, but a grown-ass man.
Like, come on. Go to UPS to drive a fucking truck. But he had so many... I didn't know he had, like, a bad past. Like, he has charges for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to me, because obviously nobody's gonna walk around like with their record and stuff, but that's why I believe that all jails should have access, or like public access to everybody's charges.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not charges, but like convictions at least.
Mm-hmm.
Because
charges too, because it needs to be known, because you got to look out for all that. Because had I known, I would have never been like open to even meet the guy.
One thing that I've learned now, like being on the recruiting side of like the businesses that I've worked for, is that you can tell me all day long, oh, it was this weird situation, or oh, me and my Theo started arguing, and then we got in a fight, or we started, he lunged at me or whatever. Because they will tell you, they'll tell you like, hey, this and this and this and this charge is going to come up, FYI. And so a lot of times I ask them if they're comfortable sharing what the charges are, or whatever, or like the convictions. And you don't even have to ask them like, hey, well, what was the specific situation? Like, why do you have this charge? They'll just tell you. But the trend that we have seen, because initially I'm that person that wants to hire everybody. Right. Like, you call me for a job, like, oh, you have a record? I bet nobody has given you a chance. We'll give you a chance. Right. And I think a lot of the managers were with me on that.
And I get that part. Like, everybody deserves a second chance. But if you have conviction after conviction after...
Yes.
Like, yeah, mijo.
And I'll tell you, and I don't know specific numbers. This is something I would have to really look at, and I'm not going to because that's a lot. I've been there three years now. But I would love to see the dropout rate, or the issue, like the problem child rate for the people that we have hired with convictions. Because there has been some that they were just like, I think he fed us a load of shit because he is aggressive. He is short-tempered. He,
Well, I'm telling you,
can't get along with nobody.
This guy could not get along with nobody. But he would talk about God and Bible verses, and he was... self-made, rare breed. I remember whenever he got arrested and he had to go to Puerto Rico the next day, they actually let him go still on his trip. And I remember he was posting.
What?
Yeah.
That's a flight risk red flag.
Yeah. They still let him go on his trip. And the whole time he was there, he was posting pictures and talking shit like, haha, I still came, but nobody's... And then on another one, nobody's ever gonna love you like I did, little one, you downgraded, blah blah blah. And I'm just like,
psychopath.
And I hadn't even like been with anybody else, like, yeah. And they say, I had it written down right here, domestic violence can look different in every relationship because no one will experience it in the same way.
Right.
Because there's many different ways for domestic violence, and it's verbal abuse, It's physical, it's mental, it's sexual, everything.
So, have you heard the theory on TikTok about if like that a woman is stuck in the woods with a bear and a man? If she had to choose which one to go toward, the amount of chatter and videos and talk that is like circulating around that is wild to me because everybody chooses the bear. And initially I was like, well, this is a stupid analogy. Like, what's the point of that?
Who's the man?
Well, and that's the thing. It's a man that you don't know. You don't know what he's capable of. You don't know nothing. It's literally a bear. I mean, a man and a bear. What are you going to do? Right? Because if you go with the bear's just going to tear you up, eat you alive, have you for dinner, and call it a day. But a man will force things on you, force things in you, do things to you, beat you. Like it's such an interesting analogy now that I've looked into it now because I mean, I would choose a man. I'd be like, let's get out of here, save me.
Mhm.
But the reality is that there's just so much trust lost in that because of the crazy things that men do.
I'm like, I'll try. I'd try to outrun them both.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, but it's almost like, would you prefer a quick death or a horrible quick death, or a horrible, slow, painful, dragged out, raped, taken advantage of death with the men? And that's just so crazy to me because
a quick one.
I would have never picked the bear. I would have been like, the fuck, a bear's going to kill me and a man's going to save me. But that's kind of how that analogy goes. And so I think when I tell you that I am so intrigued by what happens behind closed doors is because it blows my mind how normal people can look from the outside.
Yeah. Domestic violence is described as a pattern of behavior in a relationship that is to use or maintain power and control over an intimate partner.
That's literally what you described. Like everything that you talked about today is literally what that definition just described. God, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Well, one, I'm so glad that you were able to get out of it. So tell me how you got out. Like
the minute I knew he was on that plane, because he posted about it. The minute I knew he was on the plane, I called up my friend, and we got the fuck out of that house.
Wow.
And my aunt and my uncle, they went to pick me up at the hospital because my car had two flat tires where he slashed them.
Like te va a servir así, yeah.
And I mean, they helped me a lot get out of that too. And I ended up coming to Odessa and staying at my mom's house, my grandma's house. And I was there for a few months. And almost a year, I would say.
Shit, I'm sure she would have had you for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah,
there, knowing
no
what
doubt.
you got out of.
Oh, no doubt. But he stopped looking for me eventually, and I had never run into him. Never. I had him blocked on everything. I never saw him again till that day when I was working at OGT. What was it like? Scary. 2 years later, maybe, because it happened in 2015 or 16, and it was 2018 when we worked at OGT.
So 3 or 4 years later. Wow.
And that was, to me, that was because I'm like, what the fuck is he even doing over here in Odessa? Like, stay your ass in fucking Midland.
Go
piece
over
of
there,
shit.
right?
Yeah. He would tell me, you can run, but you can't hide. I'll find you, bitch. Don't forget my dad's a sheriff. But if you or anybody you know is in a situation like this, know you can get help. Get the fuck out before it's too late, especially if you have kids involved. Like, get the fuck out.
That's the kids always for me.
Yep.
So is there anything that you want to
Yeah.
contribute more on the story with him?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch base on domestic violence affects 1 in 3 women across the U.S. This is an issue that impacts you, your family, your neighbor, and your workplace. And I can attest to all of that because it did.
Because it's going to affect you everywhere, obviously.
And I was lucky, but not everyone else gets a chance like I did. So seek help ASAP because they will never change. And if, he's with somebody, I truly hope that he's not doing the same to them and that he got the help that he needs.
God willing.
God says pray for your enemies, and I don't pray for him, but
pray for the women that he comes
I pray for the women that he does come in contact with.
Well, I'm so proud of you for getting out. And I'm so proud of you for not letting it go on for years and years and years and years.
Like I said, I was so scared that I purchased a guns.
God willing, you'll never have to use it.
And I hope I never have to use it, Que se quede, leave me the fuck alone, stay your ass over there. I didn't mention any names because for what?
Y literal, que se vayan a la verga los que se tengan que ir a la verga.
Y que vivamos los que tengamos que vivir.
Karma's good, God is good, and he's gonna get his somehow, some way. I feel like that's what keeps me going sometimes with things, and I've never been through anything even remotely close to that. But if I believe it for like the little minuscule things or like the little ways that people sly me, then
is it 100%. Is it normal for me not to care if it does or not? Like, I really don't care.
Because it's indifference. You don't give a shit either way.
I just, I don't wish him well, but I don't wish him bad either.
That's one instance where it's just like, it's hard not to wish Malicia.
I just don't care,
No, well, I hope that he's living his life and that he never comes back and that you never have to see his face. I
think we're way past that, God willing. So,
in Jesus' name. All right, guys. Well, we know that was a really heavy one, and thank you so much again for sharing your story. I hope this was cathartic or therapeutic for you in a way where it's just like maybe.
I just feel like if I can help somebody know that they're not alone and there's help, just like with our other topic, the episode from today, like, get help, know your worth, and know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and your family cares about you. Don't be afraid like I was to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help every now and again. And yo sé que hay unas tercas like us.
No.
That we don't like to ask for help, but
never. But it's
in this situation, like, please get help before it's too late.
Anytime when it's life or death,
especially if there's kids involved.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.